Boom.
Oh, go! Was it street race? Was it speed
Go
race?
go power. Go speed racer.
Go speed race. Yes, folks. Well, we're live. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Um,
Go gadget podcast.
oh no, not that was
Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. We are live. Yeah. Welcome to the Triple D
Hi folks.
Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. I am half your hostess with the mostest, Eric Tenkar, and with me, as always, every other Friday, first and third, is Glen House.
Hi.
Hi. How are you, folks? We're a little punchy today.
Oh, I'm a
We're-
lot punchy. I'm still sick.
Yeah, we dragged. Glenn should be convalescing, and I was like,
That's
yeah,
okay. That's okay. I was here Tuesday. I can be here today.
we need
Anyway,
we need you for the show.
and
So
I'm wearing my new shirt.
nice shirt. Look at well, Glenn. I'm going to give you a full screen on that one.
Oh, give me a full screen on that.
There you go.
Look at that baby. Keep the full screen up there. I want to show my other ones.
All right.
I got three other ones. These are all my artwork too. Look at that.
That's
Isn't that
nice.
beautiful? And this is one of my favorites.
Very nice. Very nice.
And finally,
Oh, now was it the
the
loopy
Loopy Ogre.
the loopy ogre?
Yeah. That last one, the Loopy Ogre, it's pink. But when I put
Oh,
the
okay.
pictures up, when I put the picture up on Facebook, it looked tan.
It's
That's
a
weird.
very light pink.
Very light pink. It's salmon. It's salmon.
It's salmon, yo. It's salmon. Don't
Like
worry
King
about
Brandy
it.
said, it's salmon.
It's a good color. Everybody likes the color. Don't worry about it. So, folks, Glenn and I have been literally just talked something out before the show launched tonight,
We just
and
threw it up.
we just threw it up. And Glenn's been doing artwork, and he's been putting a lot of the stuff on shirts to get seen. And I am relaunching or rebooting the Tavern Substack in April, and it's going to have gaming content, whether it is creatures, magic items. It's going to probably have
Underwear.
locations, and I'm going to be doing written content that's going to be released in Creative Commons. But I want to use Glenn's artwork to inspire what I write, and then allow you, if you wanted to license that artwork from Glenn for your product, or purchase it on different items like shirts. But it's going to get seen, or you can just commission Glenn to do work for you.
I will be having a Shopify store coming up, hopefully within the next week.
So we are going to work on getting all that over the next week or two situated, settled, put into place. I'm also going to be doing some one-page dungeons, but that's probably going to be on the paid side of the subscription. But we want to do a lot of stuff on the free side because it's the OSR, man. The OSR is about giving back to the community.
OSR is where it's at.
Yeah, man. Yo, man. Don't mess with my OSR, yo. I know, we're both going to be coughing.
Yeah.
There. I've got my cough, my snotties are allergies, I believe.
Oh, hi, Dave. Always say hi to Dave when he comes in.
Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson. You're late, Mr. Thompson. You're late. Well, you're not. You're usually always on time. Occasionally, we are late. I didn't want that happening today. I had a busy day.
You are up late, sir. Why don't you see the live streams that we do during the day? It'd probably be better.
Yes, he drops in for those.
Oh, okay.
We're addictive, Glenn. I'm just gonna say, Once you get a little Tenkar, it's hard to let go. Glen is just icing on the cake. I know that's
You
don't,
funny. You
don't
funny.
don't even take that one too far, folks, because you're gonna get really scared if you try to parse that one out. But
You're funny.
so I want to address something that I don't I was gonna read to Glen before we launched, and Glen's like, save it for the show.
Yeah.
So
That's my go-to motto now before we start. It's like save it for the show.
save it for the show. Don't
We have little enough to talk about anyway. Save it for the show.
don't waste content listening while I play Stalker 2. Oh my. Stalker 2. Stalker is that violent Russian computer video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and read that. I will be liberally using the mute button so I can blow my nose and stuff.
Okay. So the announcement, the in-house announcement when WotC pulled the plug on Project Sigil, the not ready for prime time 3D VTT. This is from WotC. It's apparently their vice president.
Mm-hmm.
When they let go of 30 members of the team, they kept 3. And if you're one of those 3 kept, do you really feel secure in your position? No. Dear team, I want to share an important update regarding Sigil. An important update. I'm firing 90% of you all, but it's an important update. After several months of alpha testing, which the first time I read this, I didn't catch that. It means that it never reached beta. That means that when they did launch it to the public, it was in a fucked up state. Okay, sorry, Rory, correct me. Ukrainian game about Chernobyl zone. Okay, I stand corrected. We've concluded that our aspirations for Sigil as a larger stand-alone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized. What does that tell you right there? That management had no idea what it was. They saw this as their Baldur's Gate 3. They saw this as a computer game, not a tool to play D&D, not an interface. This literally was, in their view, shake your money maker. How are you going to make money for the company? Project Sigil. It's a new game. No, it wasn't a game. What they don't. Again, they didn't understand it. They didn't comprehend what it was.
I think they think video game and VTT are the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And that is likely why this didn't go anywhere.
See, like I said before the show, I said every edition or iteration of D&D, they're going to try this again and fail. I mean, this is twice now.
They did this with 4E. For those that don't know, 4E, 4E was a result of the company going, oh shit, this OSR thing OGL thing is losing us control over our IP. What did we ever do? So we need to reboot the game completely differently and change the licensing to the game system license. And the game system license required you to buy in as a publisher, was much more restrictive. And the buy-in was initially like $2,000. So they didn't want any Tom, Dick, or Tenkar to come in and start writing something for it. They wanted to make sure that you were serious. But it was also written with the idea that it would come with a VTT. And assigned at the VTT for 4E, GleeMax, the GleeMax VTT was you were going to buy miniatures, through them, and you'd buy maybe a standard orc was 25 cents a mini. You couldn't duplicate them on your side. If you needed 5 orcs, you had to buy 5 orc minis, but they were 25 cents. You wouldn't bat an eye. When they showed an in-house demo to the game, or maybe even an outside demo to the game, they showed the 3D dice roller. But the thing is, they stole those graphics directly from Fantasy Grounds.
Oops.
Every frame. The in-house designers, programmers, were a couple, a guy and a girl. I don't believe they were married, but they were common law. And before this project could be finished, it ended in a very horrible. I'm trying to do words that may not get us demonic. Screw it! It was a homicide and a self-deletion. So they went from a programming staff of 2 to 0, and the VTT was silently let go. And 4E wasn't successful to a large extent because it was built to be a VTT that was going to thrive on microtransactions. 5E was a response to 4E being rejected, and 5.5E was a response to how are we going to monetize two things. How are we going to monetize this VTT phenomenon that they experienced in 2020 during the pandemic? And they saw that all these VTT owners were getting all this traffic playing their game, and they weren't getting a penny.
Yeah, it's bad.
Bad. And then Baldur's Gate 3, which made them a shit ton of money, but made the game publisher hold up more because WotC was getting licensing fees. If they could do it in-house, oh my God, they'd be rolling in the bucks. They would have their prior president, Cynthia Williams, they would have her dream come true of the billion-dollar IP. Well, this letter to their Sigil staff tells you they didn't understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to go back to the letter. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort, and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week.
That's a weird way of putting it.
Well, you're going to be separated from the company. You mean I'm going to be fired? No, not fired. Just separated.
Just cut off like an appendix.
Right. You know, like when your nails get too long and you take out the nail clipper and you clip them off, it's kind of like that. It's more of it's more like a manicure than a firing. You got what I'm saying? No. We are, however, proud of what the Sigil team has developed, and want to make sure that fans and players on D&D Beyond can use it. To that end, we will transition Sigil to a D&D Beyond feature. Oh, Rory, what the fuck are we, that 4E VTT story? There's a term in tech called knowledge silo. This is one. Is that on a serious scale? Listen, Rory, I mean, that WotC was doing the VTT for 4E on the cheap. Remember, this is 15 years ago. So your big VTT at the time was Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah.
I don't even think that Roll20 existed at that point. So probably Fantasy Grounds and Map Tools and Screen Monkey and Kluge Works. They weren't really.
Yeah.
They weren't a game table, which I think was a whiteboard. There wasn't a lot that was available at the time, and expectations have grown a lot in what you're going to get with your VTT.
Yeah.
Foogly, separated. It sounds more like the execs need to be cauterized. Rory, separated is amicable. It's not you, it's me. I need some time to grow.
Oh,
I
one of
mean,
those breakups.
yeah, those were. It's not you, it's me. You're just an asshole. I happen to be the. See you next Tuesday. Foogly, if they wanted their own VTT, they could have just purchased one of the smaller companies that already had a good one. I actually thought that was the route they were going to go down when Project Sigil was not talked about, when it launched from beta to live without a bump, without an announcement, without a pronouncement. And they did that literally a week after inviting people into I thought it was a beta test. The week before, I got an invite. Couldn't use it because there's no OS X, no Mac version. But that is a huge sign that they are putting us out to pasture. We will maintain a small team, tres, to sustain Sigil and release products already developed at no additional cost to users. To those moving on, but not only are you separated, you're moving on, Glenn. To those moving on, as a result of this decision, we will provide robust support, including severance packages, 2024 bonus, career placement services, and internal opportunities where possible. I want to take a
Don't
moment to.
apply for unemployment.
Yeah, oh yeah. No unemployment. Don't go that far. I want to take a moment to praise the entire Sigil team for their incredible work to deliver this product to our community. The same product that we are going to shitcan. We want to thank you. We're proud of you. I am most proud of here at D&D is our strong sense of purpose. We aim to honor our current players while ensuring D&D continues to build connections and bring joy to future generations. And that's what the Sigil team was doing.
Wow.
But you weren't doing it profitably enough or quickly enough. So, although we haven't fully realized our vision for Sigil to scale, the team should be proud of their achievements. That, again, was, I believe, by their Vice President. Oh, Dan Rawson, Senior Vice President, Dungeons and Dragons, and Hasbro Direct. So he's the one that led the in-person layoff. Whatever the new president of WotC is, the one that looks like a Fonz in his 50s. He didn't address the people that he was fucking over. No.
Do you think they're gonna try again later on down the road with this Sigil thing?
I don't know. Here's the thing. People like Rob Conley who've looked at the rules for 5.5, I haven't. And even if I did, I couldn't compare it to 5.0 because I played it once.
Uh-huh.
But Rob looked at it and he said a lot of the changes in 5.5 were done to accommodate a VTT. These rules were there to put that into place. So much like 4E, 5.5E was written for a VTT that is not in existence. What's funny is that the programming staff, the developers for Project Sigil, didn't even know that D&D Beyond had its own VTT. Well, now I think they call it maps. I didn't know they had it until I stumbled across it. But that's how they stumbled across it, thinking that they were like doing I'll sign up for our beta, and then they found this. What the hell is this? And I've been talking about this for a better part of a year, that the internal talk that I was hearing was that the D&D Beyond team and the Project Sigil team were not working together. They weren't working in parallel.
There's
They
a
were
red
working.
flag.
They were working in crosshairs, and the whole issue was who worked for who. Who was the most important linchpin? Was D&D Beyond supporting Project Sigil, or was Project Sigil supporting D&D Beyond? And there's an issue with that, and I've known it before in government work, and I've seen it in corporations, that sometimes there's this belief that, well, we'll let them both believe that they're the most important, because then they'll both work really hard to be the most important and most successful. And usually what happens is that they try to sabotage each other. And I think that's what's happening here.
I know it's common, but it's wrong.
Sasha Lamora, I am canceling my master tier subscription to D&D Beyond. Now, by the way, just as this was happening, they made an announcement on D&D Beyond that if you delete your D&D Beyond account, you can't come back and reclaim it. You can't come back and reclaim your account. In other words, if you delete your account,
you have to start over.
You got to start over, and you can't export anything from D&D Beyond, which would mean if you have your campaign running in D&D Beyond, and you're like, oh, fuck WotC, you're going to have a hard time taking it out. Rory, VTT specifics aside, how depressing is this considering it alongside the 5.5 release? Terrible optics. Yep. Sasha.
Hi, Mr. Gunn.
Yeah, Mr. Gunn, welcome. Sasha, it's an obvious attempt by fascist lefticals to sabotage current D&D after 50 years. No, I think it's corporate greed, and here's the problem with WotC, in my opinion. Now, the estimate is they spent $20 to $30 million on Project Sigil. But if you know video game and computer development costs, that's nothing. So WotC was trying to get this done on the cheap and then hoping to get an immediate return. And I suspect they realized for this to work, the way they wanted it to work, they probably had to put another, I don't know, 75 into it, $100,000, and weren't willing to commit to that. You know, I don't blame them, but that's what it looks like to me. It looks like they really got greedy and shat the bed and didn't think this all the way through. And same person who told them the great idea about how we're going to kill the OGL and give them a new OGL, and they'll love the new OGL so much because players just want to play for free. That's all they care about. They don't care about the OGL. It's the same kind of people that told them, hey, we need a 3D terrain. By the way, Tailspire does the same shit, but better. But we're going to do this, and we're going to make so much money. And it just fell to the shit. It fell to the shit.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, sadly, I can believe it. You know, I just don't want to. Now, you know, the question becomes, like Glenn said, are they going to now try to buy one of those?
Put it on the shelf for a while and come back to it or something. I don't know.
Tenkar, I am not sure what the budget versus ROI calculation was. Well, here's the thing, Gunn. They were looking at two ways to monetize this. They were looking at subscriptions, and they were looking at what do you call it? Microtransactions. So I don't know what the initial return on investment was going to be. But remember, this project started under Cynthia Williams. And Cynthia Williams was talking about this billion-dollar IP. And at D&D, and then think about this, she was forced out. Why was she forced out? Was she forced out because the writing was already on the wall for Project Sigil? It could be.
Yeah.
Sasha, current interest in D&D is at a fever pitch and climbing. Why is WotC trying so hard to tank it? Because they don't understand it. It's not a game that they can understand. They got Microsoft execs and Amazon execs. And what they understand is digital with subscriptions, and they understand, especially the Microsoft people. Because remember, Microsoft owns Blizzard now. They understand, and oh, you want to use you want to use Word. Well, Word is now a subscription. You got to pay a monthly fee for it. That's what they understand, and D&D is based upon the DM buying anywhere from an average gaming group, 50 to 90% of the material the gaming group will buy, and everybody else is under monetized. Again, quoting Cynthia Williams. So this is a way to monetize the entire group. But somebody made a comment on my video when I initially covered this, which I thought was spot on. They left one part of the equation out.
What's that?
Glen, when you game with people, you're gaming with an established, like you're not doing I don't know, just a pickup group. You've got a group that's established.
Right.
So if your group that's established that right now is, I don't know, even playing online, you're using Owlbear Rodeo, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, do you have to ask people if they have a powerful enough computer to run the program?
I never think to do that.
Do you have to ask them what operating system they're using?
Nope.
So if you moved on to D&D's VTT and your party is 6, one person games from an iPad, one person is a Mac user that uses OS X, and maybe one person is a Linux user. Are you telling anywhere from a third to 2/3 of your group to go fuck themselves? Because that's what
I'm not telling them that. D&D is, or WotC is.
Now, why was their own VTT important to them? It's important to them because it's a walled garden. Okay, here's the issue. Yes, you can buy licensed material from WotC on Roll20, on Fantasy Grounds, but you're also exposed to other games, right? You're exposed to Call of Cthulhu and Warhammer and RuneQuest and Top Secret.
And they don't want that.
They don't want that. They want you in their world garden. They want you as a police horse with blinders on that only sees where the master allows them to see, where the writer allows them to see. And that's what they were hoping for. And that's failing.
Yeah.
Rory, COVID introduced so many younger people to D&D. WotC has snatched defeat from the jaws of victory ever since. Greed.
Agreed.
If they had said, listen, D&D was like a $200 million IP, and if Cynthia Williams had said, it's going to be $500 million in the next 5 years, and within a decade, we could be looking at $1 billion. She was talking 2 to 3 years, and it's $1 billion IP. Well, she put her money down, WotC's money down on this 3D VTT, which, by the way, my theory, and if I am wrong, so be it. I'm going to make an assumption. I'm going to talk it on my ass. Tony Randall can come on from the Odd Couple and tell me this is how I make an ass out of you and me. But judging from Chris Cox's comments about AI and how he sees AI as the future and all the content that they have that they can use to program the AI. It's infinite dungeons, right? It's infinite adventures. I believe the initial vision was to have that working with, and this might be why he got killed too. Maybe they couldn't figure out a way to integrate the AI that they're looking at into this high end VTT.
That's
And
possible.
so maybe the AI is going to work better with a lower end VTT. And Chris Cox, his vision is AI. I believe AI adventuring, AI dungeons, but I think at some point AI DMing, DMing on command or demand is in the future. So, Mr. Gunn, I'm not going to fart in the elevator car. I'm going to fart before you come in. Okay? I'm going to fart
Waiting
before
for
you
you.
come in, and I'm going to get off the floor before, and then you're going to get on and go, oh my God, what died in here? Rory, yeah, should be in a browser and system agnostic. Some of my group are Linux or shit laptops that struggle with Owlbear Rodeo.
If they struggle with Owlbear Rodeo, that tells you something right there.
Yeah, well, but their initial plans for their VTT was to include Mac and Linux, but you knew there was an issue when they showed last year at last spring, early summer, when they showed the demo of the VTT with their influencers and this big boardroom. Everybody had an Alienware laptop. That's not a good sign if you are looking for a common denominator of players. Everybody I knew who saw that was like, oh my God, they're expecting that so we can play their VTT. So yeah, not good. And I think at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it sunsets fully before the end of the year. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't seem like it has legs. When again, Tailspire does the same thing, is system agnostic, and I
That's
think
a
it's a
new one on me.
I think it's a one-time cost. Rob Conley was giving a demo kind of to us on I think last week's live and going through on how quick it was to build stuff. And that's another thing too. Not everybody wants to play with Dwarven Forge. Okay, I've run I've run an adventure with Dwarven Forge at conventions. It's a different way of running D&D. People love the visuals, but because you got the visuals of the whole dungeon laid out in front of you, then it also lets people metagame. Now, I guess you can with the virtual 3D terrain, you can reveal as the game goes, but it takes away some of that theater of the mind. And I have, I mean, I'm going to throw this out there. I have memories of books that I've read and scenes from books like the Lord of the Rings that are in my head. But I can remember the Lord of the Rings movies and say, yeah, they were great, they were fun. But I don't remember scenes in them like I remember the scenes in books that I've read. So what has more of an impact, an imprint on you, is probably the theater of the mind. Yes, Dwarven Forge is nice but heavy, bulky. Yes, it is. Mr. Gunn, they were coming from a PC gamer mentality, which means having the most powerful PC you can afford. No, listen. What's one thing we can say about gamers? They are cheap fucks with expendable cash, which means they don't mind spending money on stuff, but they're also looking for a bargain. All right, and uh, WotC, the company that's so terrified of people having PDFs that you can't get PDFs for 5e, that are WotC products, right? You know, we'll let you get third party stuff and DM's Guild stuff, but you want a PDF of Tasha's? Go fuck yourself. Can't give you that. We'll give it to you on D&D Beyond, but you don't own it. You're leasing it, and if you cancel your account, you're losing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because to a large extent, D&D is the engine that drives the tabletop RPG hobby.
That's right.
You know, so that part's a shame. But they're not going to sell the IP, folks.
Here's what I see problem with the business model in that. Now I know WotC wants to get every gamer signed up on D&D Beyond or whatever, or this VTT when it comes out or whatever, so they can sell them more stuff.
Right.
You know, whether it's books, supplements, or digital things. The problem is they're not going to make as much money as they think because the people who buy a lot of stuff are only half of the gamers, half of the community. Because you got GMs, you got players. GMs are the ones that are going to spend the extra money.
Well, again, Glenn, that's the whole reason why they wanted to bring everybody into this VTT. Because, you want to play in a VTT? Well, it's going to be $5 a month for the player, right? So now your players who don't buy anything beyond the core book, the core player's book, maybe, if even that. Now their idea is like we're going to get $60 a year from them. Oh, and by the way, we'll let them cut. This was the future, folks. This is what was planned. We will let them customize their character, and they can get like a tchotchke flaming sword for an extra $1. And they can, folks, they were going to nickel and dime the players, not the DMs. The players are going to get nickeled and dimed. The DMs will get sold adventures. Yeah, you could spend 10 hours mapping out your own adventure areas, but no, we'll sell you the whole thing for
those microtransactions. They're trying to get that microtransaction stuff going, you know?
Yep. So it's now I when I was at Page in January, Philadelphia Area Game Expo or Gaming Expo, I spoke with people who had play tested the VTT. These are people who have much bigger channels than we have here. And by the way, folks, if you want to throw a super thanks, a super chat, or whatever they call
it, thanks.
We would never say no. But these are much bigger channels, and I was asking them, why aren't we hearing this hyped? And it's like, well, what they show you works very well, but what they show you is it's almost like what do they call it? A Potemkin village, that we're only going to show you what we've already cleaned up and made perfect, and we're not going to show you what isn't perfect. And we're not going to let you go in there and try something that it isn't ready for. And there was talk of, I don't know what's going to happen with it. It may wind up being a tax write-off. And I was surprised to hear that from somebody who said it actually looks pretty good. But I think the reason, again, it looks pretty good is at that point they could only replay one scenario. And that is probably not all that good. I know, Mr. Gunn. You're a D&D player, so you are what we call a cheap fuck. That's okay. That's okay. Listen. I am the same way. I don't do a lot. There are some live streams that I will give a super thanks to, but for the most part, and I don't even ask for it. Right? People go, "There's a super thanks."
I just look above me at my movie collection and think, This was all made because I am a cheap bastard.
There you go.
Same with the gaming stuff.
John Miller, since the microtransactions on Sigil were a major part of Hasbro's plan to make money with D&D 2024, I wonder what their current plan is with D&D. No print sales, no Sigil. Well, it isn't like now. Here's some other things that I find interesting. So D&D Beyond, and I think they made that announcement because they feared a little backlash of Project Sigil being canceled. So they wanted to remind people, don't do what you did during the OGL and cancel your accounts. Because if you do, you're going to lose all this shit. So don't do that. But I suspect they're going to double down on D&D Beyond. And I also suspect they're going to try to bring their maps VTT to a much more professional level. It was an afterthought before. But again, they have their own two-dimensional VTT. So I think they're going to double down. It doesn't require the same investment that the 3D did. I think they're going to try to bring that up to par.
What do you bet they're going to try and take maps and Sigil and go?
Well, there's not much. Again, I don't think they can merge it because Sigil requires, like, the maps doesn't require any kind of OS X, Linux,
Right.
PC. It works with all, as far as I know, and it's easy for the GM to just upload maps. Project Sigil is you're building 3D terrain. I think Sigil, I believe, again, not a prediction, no inside knowledge, that it's going to wither on the vine, and they'll pull the plug when they realize that few people are playing it. And I think that's what's happening. One thing that we did learn from one of WotC's vice presidents, who was doing a flex in an interview, and she was talking about all these D&D Beyond accounts, and without exact numbers, it was like, yes, and she quotes the number of accounts and the number of characters created for D&D 2024, and the number of accounts was like, I don't know, 10 times the number of D&D Beyond accounts than characters generated for 2024. And if you know gamers, what's the first thing you do with new rules? You roll new characters, right? You want to understand how they're different. If nobody was rolling characters, it means 2024 wasn't getting used. And remember, too, D&D Beyond initially was forcing the 2024 rules on everybody in their account. And then they realized they had all right, we got to keep the 2014 rules in so people can have the option. Because they were going to lose people. Okay? So, and again, going back to D&D Beyond, from WotC's point of view, has one aspect that books will never beat. And that's not just the subscription. It's the fact that they can go in and they can edit and change and add and delete to their heart's content. You don't own the product. You can't download the product. You can't snapshot the product. You're stuck with whatever WotC. If WotC goes in there and says, "Oh my God, elves are objectionable. We got to delete all elves," you're gonna go in there and there'll be no more elves. That's the power of the D&D Beyond for them. Yep. Physical rule books, they can't do that too. So
you got that right.
Yep.
So what else is going on? Hey, is not GaryCon going on right now?
GaryCon is going on right now, and I know a few people that are at GaryCon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I am probably never going back to GaryCon. Nothing horrible against GaryCon. It is a a bucket list place, not just for its location in Lake Geneva. The venue itself is an old Playboy club.
Mansion.
Yeah. And, Luke runs a good con. But I don't think I can't deal with the crowd. I couldn't deal with the crowds in 2019. They were only getting worse. And I don't want to have to play, I don't know, room roulette, trying to make sure I get a room at the venue. Even worse, I don't like to have to rent a car to attend this place, which I'd have to after flying. Additional expenses that I sincerely don't need or want. So at this point, I'm only flying to one convention a year, and that is North Texas. I gotta. I'm retired. It's not like I can say I'll work overtime at work. I'll pick up some overtime tours. I'll do a few details.
Yeah, and next month we'll all be in the same boat with Becky. She's retiring, and yeah. So we got Gary Con, and next month is Wizard Con.
Wizard Con at the end of April. That's a new one from Don Samora.
Yeah, that's going on during my birthday.
Ooh.
Yay.
I'm looking forward
went there. But I need to save my money, so.
I'm looking forward to that. Now, I'm probably driving to that, so it's going to be. I don't know if I can drive 11 hours in one day. I've never tried it.
And Mark Hunt will be premiering the new edition of Gangbusters BX there. We probably should have him on the show pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's getting ready to launch.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what he has. Get playing Gangbusters with you with a blast. No, Mr. Gunn, Bad Mike, and a pinup calendar. No, not nor his brother. His brother likes to wear the Speedos.
Boy, that would be a great seller, wouldn't it?
Pay me, or I will send this to you. Pay me, and I send this to you.
They pay us to not publish this.
Yes. Save money.
Okay. Wizard Con, then North Texas, and what's the one after North Texas you're going to?
Central New York Con. So it's literally, I'll get back from North Texas on Monday, and then Friday I'll be driving up to Central New York Con, which is a 2-day con, Saturday, Sunday, in Central New York.
Which is why you can't come visit me.
I know. Listen, they invited me as a special guest. They're going to give me a hotel room for Rachel.
They're yanking your chain, man.
Why, Otherwise, I would have been like, oh, but it's like. So, and then my last con of the year will be Shire Con in September. Now, another con would be Game Hole, which is like late October, early November. Game Hole is a really good, well-run convention. However, I got to fly to it. Flying there's a bit easier. You can fly into Madison, Wisconsin. You don't have to drive 90 miles after landing to get to your venue. Mm-hmm. You can get there usually with a hotel shuttle. But, I got to fly. And flying is an expense. You got 2 people flying, not just me. And you gotta rein it in at some point. And so Game Hole can deal with the crowds. It's much better at dealing with the large numbers. But Gary Con, the venue can't grow any larger. So the solution is we'll just, and this is my opinion, this is my observation, I'm not saying it's right, but the solution seems to be we'll just charge more for badges, and only the people that really want to come are going to come. Because, as opposed to moving to, now if they move to Milwaukee, I'd probably go, all right, I'll have to check it out. And they could probably handle much larger crowds. At the moment, Luke wants to stay in Lake Geneva. I understand why. But even Gen Con had to leave Lake Geneva and move on to Milwaukee And after Milwaukee, it moved on to Indianapolis because you just have to grow with the crowds, assuming you want to do so. I respect Luke for wanting to stay in Lake Geneva.
That's why North Texas cuts off badge sales.
Yes. And I feel very bad for people who got caught up in that. Listen, it could have happened to me because I'm always the person that's like, oh, I don't even want to get my badge until after the early bird is over because I don't want to be tempted to take the early bird price. Because I like to support the con as best I can. But then you forget about it. And then you're like, oh!
And you do what Jason has to do. Go up there on the day and buy it right there.
Which honestly for me wouldn't make a huge difference because I tend to only sign up for 1 or 2 games at most. I'm there to socialize. I am there to see my people and live stream from the convention and go to seminars
and play some games.
I do play some games, but this is where I get to see Glen, James Raggy, Kelsey Dion. I believe that Joe Block is going back this year. It's the one place where I got to meet James Spahn in person. Hopefully, we get him back there in the future when his kids get a little bit older. This is the stuff that conventions are made of. It's the people.
Yeah. By the way, here's an off topic.
Yes.
I've noticed. I've been watching a couple of Joe the Lawyer's podcasts or videos on YouTube.
Right.
Is he feeling all right?
Why?
I can see his face.
All right. So you want the story behind this?
Oh, is there a story? Yeah. Story time. Yeah.
Yes. So at TotalCon this year, which was, oh my God, a month ago. At TotalCon, I'm belly up at the bar at TotalCon. Was this Friday night? Friday night or Saturday night? I forget which. It was one of those two. And I think Rach was up in the room working out, yogaing, whatever. And I step away from the bar and I walk off to do a little browsing, come back, and I think I was walking with Don Zamora, and I hear, Eric! And there's Joe the lawyer jumping over this like 2.5, 3 foot wall that they have separating the bar from the rest of the hotel.
Right.
To come over and give me a quick hug and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? I didn't think you were coming up. He's like, oh, I drove up for the night. He drove because he lives in Connecticut. He drove up for the night to hang out at the bar and talk with people. So I went and and was talking with Joe and others, and we were all socializing. And Alan Hammock comes up and he's talking with me, and I buy Alan a beer, Guinness, and he's like, "That's Joe the lawyer's voice, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Joe the lawyer," because I didn't recognize him because I didn't see the face, but I recognized the voice, and I was like, but Joe didn't hear that because he was involved in the conversation. Somebody else, so I told him after Alan left, and he goes, "What?" He goes, "Alan Hammock actually recognized my voice?" I'm like, "Yeah, but not your face because you never show it." And then I got him thinking. I got Joe thinking. And then he thought about it. He's like, "You know what? It's time to show my face." And show his face. So I think on the next video he did with Tim Shorts, Tim does videos, live streams, I think on Monday nights. He revealed his face.
Wow.
So good for him.
Good for him. And all it took was a con.
Yeah. That he wasn't even officially at.
Kind of like the way Vince wasn't officially at con.
Oh, no. Well, first off, I mean, listen, Ken Whitman, I was told a story of Ken Whitman actually drawing his own badge for an early GaryCon to show up at GaryCon and walk around. But well, Vince had a press pass, right? Didn't he get a?
Yeah, in the beginning.
I mean, Rach and I had press passes for TotalCon.
Have
And
you? Did you?
yeah,
Okay.
no, that was we were offered them, and I was like, certainly, I'm happy to. You know, Mr. Gunn, just relax, relax. You get you're getting a bit of uppity, sir. You keep on getting uppity like that, you're gonna see how big Glen is. He'll walk your ass right out of here,
But
Glen.
I love it. We're in the middle of con season, and I love it. Even though I only go to one, I still love it.
Well, I love hearing like the stories of people that are
Yeah.
gonna listen. The stories that I love are the first timers,
Yeah.
you know, or the people that hadn't gone to a con since they were 18. Now they're back and they're like, oh my God, I forgot how magical this could be. And that I think is
Yep.
the awesome. It's like I joke about it, but at North Texas, I generally get my breakfast from one of the food trucks. They make some really good breakfast sandwiches. And I sit in the hallway leading up to the artist row vending area outside the restrooms. But in any case, I sit there because there's a little table and two like big soft chairs because I'm in a central place and people can walk by and they can stop and they can talk because
Yeah.
Rach and I are generally having a conversation about nothing, but they'll recognize our voices. And then when people come by and go, "Oh my God, Tenkar and Rach, I love you on Gamers Health, and Tenkar, you and Bad Mike are a hoot, and where's Glen?" That's what I go to conventions for.
Wow.
Gaming. I love gaming, but I want to be there to connect with people, and I think that's more important, honestly. But that's just me. My my first North Texas, I made the same mistake that I made when I went to not Gary Con, my one Gen Con. I didn't have a moment free. I signed up for everything from like 8 o'clock in the morning to midnight, and by Saturday
You were
evening,
wiped.
wiped out. That was it. And it was all of us we all showed up. No, everybody showed up to the game. I think it was going to be Dallas the RPG by Michael Curtis.
Uh-huh.
We all showed up, and Mike was just like, I'm exhausted. I'm dead." And I was like, "Oh, thank God, so am I." And Rich LeBlanc was like, "Yeah, yeah, no." I goes, "You just want to move this to the bar and just hang out?" And we did.
That's
So
great.
part of a convention thing is learning to pace yourself. So you know, and I'm somebody who likes to take a nap every 2 or 3 days minimum, sometimes daily. And at
Yeah,
conventions, I don't want to waste time napping. It's like I want to be
I got some
socialized.
good con stories. Um, I
Yeah.
still tell that story. Good night, Dave. I still tell that story about how James Spahn, when I introduced James Spahn to um, Errol Otis. I still tell that story.
Tell
Just
it.
how he was totally starstruck. It was wonderful.
I mean, listen, James had a blast that time. James flashed me his man boobs as I was talking
I remember
to,
that.
I was, I was talking to Merle Rasmussen, and we've got Frank Metzner waiting to talk to me about something. And James comes up and does the man boob flash. Merle saw it out of the corner of his eyes, and his eyes got wide, and he held in a chuckle. But Frank didn't know at first, and then he looked. And, oh my! And, oh God! It was classic. Then there's a picture that goes around from that con with it looks like James kicking me in the nuts.
Yes.
He didn't actually kick me in the nuts, but the picture was snapped as James was doing a kick as I was walking by, and we were a couple feet apart, but it just looks like I'm getting caught in the nutsack. So
Yeah, that's your reward for going to all these cons.
get nailed in the nutsack.
Nailed in the nutsack. I hope you folks all get to go to cons.
Yes. And here's the thing. Find one that's drivable for you.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. They happen. You gotta look for them. I was working on a calendar for it, and that project was just too time consuming. There's just too many of them.
Because here's what's going to happen if you fly to a con. They have weight limits on planes, and you're going to buy more stuff than you can probably carry. Yes, you can send it home, but wouldn't you rather just pile it all in a car and go home?
Right. Well, so all right. So true story. My first GaryCon, which was 2016, I didn't know I was going into the last minute because Frog God suddenly told me, "Hey, if you work the booth, you got a room and a badge. You just got to get yourself here." So I was like, "All right." And Rach couldn't make it, so I flew down. I was freshly retired, and coming back, I'm sitting next to a woman who was wearing a Gary Con shirt, and so I was like, "Oh, were you at Gary Con?" She goes, "Yeah, yeah, I was. I go, so was I." She goes, "Oh, all right." She goes, "And who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Eric Tenkar." She's like, "No, you're not." I go, "Well, I'd show you my ID, but my ID says Stina." But I mean, yeah, I'm like, "No, you're not." I go, "All right, well, fine." I go, "But when we get off, my bag that's overhead has some swords and with lights, so I'd be happy to, you know, give you a couple." Because she was a teacher, and she's like, "Uh huh." I'm like, "All right, whatever." I guess maybe she thought I was trying to pick her up with this conversation that I'm Eric Tenkar.
Uh-huh.
So we get off the plane, and she has to wait for luggage because she bought so much it couldn't. You know, this was, I believe, it was Delta. They were kind enough not to, send her out or charge her for the luggage, but they had to put it in the main cargo because she had bought a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, she had it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I stopped and I took out my swords with lights and handed it to her. I told you this is me. She goes, "Oh my god!" So she apologized. "Hey, listen, I don't blame her. Whatever. But I was like, wow, she bought a lot of shit. She really, really did. And I go to cons if I am driving. It's a lot easier to buy stuff. If I am flying, I am
That's
conscious
right.
of what I'm picking up.
And you know what? Um, every time I go to the con, every year I buy less and less and less. It's just the way it works. You start getting your stuff that you want, and you know, you don't
Yeah.
see stuff you want.
Well, because you have too much stuff, dude.
Yeah,
You like me.
exactly.
Terry, look me up when you get to WizardCon. I'll be there. Game plan is Rach and I should be driving in Thursday, arriving on Thursday, late Thursday probably. But it's up in the air with Rach because our doggy has a back issue. She's been feeling a lot better, but we also have to wean her off the medications that she's on, so she might not be feeling as good. Don't want to leave a dog that's in distress with others in the family, so may just be me. And
Right.
I am not Eric Tenkar's stunt double because Eric Tenkar does not do anything that requires a stunt double. I will tell you that right now. The
Same
last,
here.
the last time Zach Laser wanted me to stand on furniture to hang shit up for a Frog God booth, I told him, "Do you know how old I am? It ain't happening. So it don't happen no more. I don't go standing on no furniture to go hanging around and stuff."
I want to say hi to the Austin folks, and
Sure.
because I found out, I think it was Eric Webb has signed up for one of my Gangbusters games.
Nice.
in North Texas. I'm running it twice, and it's going to be fun. I think you're in one, aren't you?
I haven't registered for any games yet.
Oh, okay. Whatever. You don't have to worry about it anyway. I could always fix you in.
I know.
You're like Gage. It's like, yeah, grandson privileges.
You know.
That just means I can pick on you through the session.
Which we do anyway. Come on, man.
Yeah, but he loves it. That's what I get a kick out of Gage. I mean, we're always giving it razzing him, but he loves it. It's just great. Yeah, I'm gonna be running my my game is called If It Bleeds, It Leads.
Ooh, okay. Reporter time.
I'm gonna try and do a newspaper type strip, even game, even though I could use some like law enforcement or private eyes or things like that. I want like at least 2 reporters.
Okay.
Preferably for rival papers.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So we'll see how it happens. Once again, I'm going to have them roll them up at the table. So
there you go. St. Cuthbert, you missed everything. Go home, man. You can't come in after the show starts. Allow it.
Excuse me.
That's okay, Glenn. I've got this horrible. Listen, when you get old, you talk about like you're young. You're like, oh no, don't worry about it. I'm good. You get old, you're like, on my nose, my head.
Oh, when I was young, I was that way. So you once you get a cold, or a flu or something, you're just miserable.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're miserable. I'm not as miserable as I was a few days ago. So.
Oh, there you go. No.
Yeah. I'm on Dayquil right now, so.
Oh, listen, I used to live on NyQuil when I was like.
Really?
Oh God!
They used to put me to sleep. I got some Sudafed.
That's the reason why I used to live on NyQuil. Be like, I just need to go to sleep. Where's the NyQuil?
That's why they make ZQuil now, because people were doing that. So it's like, why don't we just take the medicine out and put the alcohol in?
Now it's just like, I'll just have a shot.
Excuse me. Anyway, okay. Yeah. But yeah, this isn't the hacking cough it used to be. So I will be healthy for the con.
You better be, Glenn. I'll sick some people on you if you're not.
I've been sick at the con. I mean, I'm not talking about when I had my accident and all this other stuff, but I've been sick at a con.
By the way, Glenn, let them know what was your accident, by the way?
Breaking my shoulder, falling in the tub at North Texas.
And who was the roommate that we can blame this on?
Greg
Gillespie, folks. Your favorite Canadian.
He said if I'd have heard, I was in bed. If I'd have heard you, I would have helped you. And it's like, I managed. It's okay. But he just, I was going to be in his Barrowmaze game, and I ended up missing it. And he said, if you didn't miss my game, I would have made you go to the hospital. I remember I did like 30 minutes of a Tunnels and Trolls game that Janelle was running. And I finally had to, because I was on the medication, in about 30, 45 minutes, I said, I'm sorry, I got to go. Things are buzzing around me and I gotta go lie down.
I've got to make some adjustments.
Exactly. Anyway.
Well, we're going to probably wrap this one early because Glenn is recovering, and my sinuses are still. You don't really want to see me,
Yeah.
You don't want to see it.
It's ouch time.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap this up. Thanks to everybody that joined us. We're back in 2 weeks. Next week is the random party. Tomorrow is Gamers Health. Thank you. But more importantly, Glenn, I, potentially Mike, potentially Jim Kitchen. I say potentially because Glenn and I are like the regular regulars, and the other two are the irregular regulars. There'll be a day this week, uh, weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, where we do a live stream. It's about an hour.
Yeah.
We have a blast. We don't prep for it. We just riff off the people that come in.
Yeah, we're the regular. We're the regulars.
We're the regulars. When you come
Yeah.
to this pub, we're the regulars.
Norm. Yeah.
Glenn?
This is it's the podcast that Tenkar's podcast are the ones where everybody knows your name.
They better. They better. So, as usual, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. Oh my God. So,
Radio
anyway,
Grognard. Rico's Hammer.
yes. And we're going to work on having some of Glenn's artwork featured on the relaunch Substack. So you'll get an idea what Glen has. You'll be able to get some of the stuff on products if you want to. So we're going to work on a lot of angles.
I better get that. I better get that Shopify store up.
Get that Shopify store up, damn it. All right, folks. Thank you. God bless.
Good night, folks.